I'm Seth Lowe. I'm gonna give hello, I'm Seth Lowe with the single unit housing team here at PCEF, and I'm just gonna give a quick overview of the application process and a few things to consider as you're putting together your application. Here's an overview of our timeline. So we have technical assistance and support through until the launch of the application, and then late March 2026 is when our applications will open. The application window will close in May of 2026, and then fall decisions are announced, and then spring 2027 the grant agreements will be executed. And that is just to give an overview of kind of the process. Ultimately, the applications will be reviewed or scored by a panel of reviewers. It'll likely be a mix of internal PCEF employees and some external subject matter experts. So just to keep that in mind, it might be someone familiar with your program and project. It also might be someone less familiar. So just writing as though someone might be reading this for the first time. Just being clear and concise and speaking to how your organization is uniquely positioned to serve your community and how your project will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The project application scoring is broken down into a few different categories. And Chris, you can go to the next slide. These first two sections that I'll talk about kind of make up the bulk of the points, and then they're kind of broken down into smaller point categories too. This first slide here, the organization and project team, this is where you can speak to the impact of your organization and how it'll be successful implementing your project plan. Just a few questions you might consider addressing in this section. Just the primary purpose of your organization, your track record serving the community, the impact that you've had, and how you're positioned to uniquely implement your project and how it will serve the community. Another thing to address, I think, in this section is how your organization represents the community you're planning to serve, and how you will do outreach and engage in PCEF priority populations. And yeah, to quickly define what we mean by PCEF priority populations, this is taken from our website. PCEF focuses investments in climate action by giving priority to people that have been historically under-resourced by sustainability, climate action, and clean energy programs. These groups are known as priority populations. By ensuring these populations benefit from grant-funded projects, the Community Grants Program helps make climate action more accessible, equitable, and impactful for those who have historically been excluded from sustainability and clean energy opportunities. So yeah, in this section, just speaking to how your organization understands and also represents the community you're serving. And then we can go to the next slide. So this makes up kind of a large portion of the points. So the project plan and benefits. It's kind of broken down again into a few different point categories, but just looking for clarity on how your project addresses climate justice. Is it scaled appropriately? Is the outcomes and the approach realistic to achieve your outcomes, your intended outcomes? There's also opportunities to talk about or include how you'll engage with recipients of the program after the project is complete. So one thing that we are looking for is just the follow-up. Maybe there's education pieces that you could provide for folks, maintenance plans, generally just follow up to after the project is complete. There's also a section about non-greenhouse gas environmental benefits, so that you can get, that have points attached to it. So there's a few examples here on this slide about planting trees, removing pavement, water management. There's others, but that's another kind of category with points. The cost savings are another one, just speaking to how it benefits the recipients of the program in terms of health, and also cost savings, how it will reduce some of their energy bills. Next slide is workforce benefit. So we ask each grantee to include a workforce and contract equity plan, which we talked briefly about earlier. Just speaks to your approach working with contractors throughout your project, who and how you will do outreach to different contractors. And here are a few contractors that we've seen folks partner with, reach out to get kind of connections. So, and then I'll do this last slide, I think, is the budget. Making sure the budget is clear, reasonable, and appropriate for the project. We mentioned some of the, Chris in the previous slide mentioned some of the costs for home retrofits. So just making sure that you're budgeting accordingly. If it's a multiple year application, making sure that the cost, accounting for cost increases year over year. And I think just general takeaway here is for the budget and just in general is that we want to see the project succeed and you succeed. So just making sure what you're asking for fits the project and is scaled appropriately to be a successful project. And then this next slide is just, I guess, for reference, gives an overview of the budget categories. And then I'll pass it back to Chris to kind of go over the last bits. Thank you.
Thanks, Seth. I'll talk about some kind of final thoughts for you here. Just one second. As you're putting together an application. Excuse me. I'm having trouble with my screen here. All right, here we go. Yeah, some final thoughts to think about when you're putting your application together. One of the critical components that you want to make sure you have included in your application is that you are including both climate, greenhouse gas emissions reduction, and community social benefit for PCEF priority populations. Both are important in terms of our scoring matrix. Seth talked about the timeline, so be aware that the application that's opening right now, those funds will not actually be flowing and available for you until around maybe kind of early spring 2027. Remember the PCEF minimum wage requirements, 180% of area minimum wage. Calculate that into your budget. And that's for everybody working on your project. So calculate that in. And then also think about insurance costs. We ask for a $2 million per occurrence liability insurance. And that can cost a little bit more. Plan for your workforce and contractor equity plans. And if you're building a new program, say you're building a home energy retrofit program, think about, do you need to plan for costs for training or for equipment, diagnostic equipment? And final thought is this process is very, very competitive. We get many more applications than we can actually fund. So be thinking very much about putting your application together, being very careful to get all the points you can possibly get. So read through the requirements and the different scoring sections that Seth was talking about, and make sure you address everything. Don't leave any points on the table. Finally, I've got some resources I'd like to share with you. On our website, you will find the applicant handbook, really valuable tool, super valuable. It's long, it's not super short, but you can just read the sections that relate to your project type. And but it's very important that you do read that. We will have some supports for you through this process. We're going to have some office hours that will be available where you can come and ask questions about your application. We have a community grants website. Here's a QR code, or you just simply go to the PCEF website. There is an application portal. It's called Web Grants, we'll offer support for that as well. And then we'll also have very specific technical assistance resources available for you if you would like to speak with one of our quality assurance providers about your specific project. So if you have questions, email the Clean Energy Fund at portlandoregon.gov. Don't email individual staff about your application. Now that the applications are live, we don't do any one-on-one support. We only do it through kind of a collective information sharing process. There's your QR code. This slide has some of the dates of our upcoming office hours and then a registration link. But I think you just want to go to our website for this one. And that wraps it up for us. Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck with your application. We hope that we get to work with you in the future. Thank you.